Healthy.
I'm Claire.
I'm Laura. And today on the show, we are talking about sinuses.
How are your sinuses?
Lovely, thank you. How are yours?
All right.
Are you a sinus sufferer?
Not
Is it your thing?
typically. I had sinusitis once, which was horrific, and it was following a cold. And I just remember the pressure that built up all around my cheeks, and I couldn't smell a thing, which also meant I couldn't taste a thing. And I remember it just being so debilitating. So my heart really goes out to people with sinusitis. Although the story goes then that I suddenly, after 6 weeks, got my smell back when we were driving up the A3, my mum and I, to go and see a show in London, and we'd stopped off in the Starbucks on the A3 to have a wee, and literally I sat down on the loo and my smell came back. Can you imagine, of all the places to get your smell back?
I thought you were going to say that
on
you
Starbucks on the A3.
You were in a coffee shop, so therefore you were smelling this lovely coffee. But
No, I was in the loo, so all I got was this awful smell of flowery disinfectant. Honestly, I can still smell it if I think about it. So honestly, of all the places, devastating.
So I quite like it when sinus issues comes into my clinic, because from the tools and techniques that we have, I really feel that I can help people who have. One of them being my mother. My mother she makes one of the classic mistakes. She is a vegetarian who eats a lot of dairy, so lots of butter and lots of cheese.
So just to clarify, one of the mistakes isn't being a vegetarian.
No,
it's the sheer quantity of butter and cheese.
Dairy. That's the common mistake that my mum makes. She kind of substitutes vegetables for cheese. And so yes, the cheese creates mucus within the body, and it can block up her sinuses, so she does get quite a lot of sinusitis.
We like to call it the dairy snots, don't we?
The dairy snots. So that's one of our first top tips, is that if you are suffering with sinusitis, is not to stop being a vegetarian. It is to look at your quantity of dairy fats.
And it's quite interesting now because, I mean, we don't eat much dairy in our diet.
I love it. I
You do
miss
love
it,
yeah.
but it's such a treat for me.
So if we ever do have a treat and go and have something like a frozen yogurt, it's like within 15 minutes we can both go, oh, there's the dairy snots. So it's what's fascinating is if you have sinusitis and you do eat a lot of dairy, literally cut it out your diet completely for 2 weeks and then go back to it and see, do you get the dairy snots? Because there is the absolute telltale sign that the dairy could be contributing towards your sinusitis.
Absolutely. The other thing that I'd be thinking of in terms of diet would be sugar. Sugar crashes the immune system, especially if it is the refined sugar. And of course, sinuses is linked in with the immune system. So
you'll get a lot of postnasal drips. So it's the snot running down the back of your throat. That's what you'll get if it's sugar.
It's as nice as your toilet comment.
It is. I know, this is a really lovely show, isn't it?
So what else would we be thinking for sinuses?
Well, interestingly, from the perspective of kinesiology, which is the predominant therapy that we work with, sinuses are linked to imbalances in the stomach. And so it sounds quite crazy when people come in and they're talking to us about sinus issues, and we recommend digestive aids. So that's either a stomach, extra stomach acid, betaine hydrochloride, or more enzymes. So you can, or a mixture of both. So we do testing for them. But yeah, actually digestive aids can really support sinus issues, can't they?
It's the reasons behind this is the stomach meridian muscles that we work with are all around the neck and the shoulders, so they all sort of tie into this sort of area around the sinuses,
which is fascinating. So when you start looking at it,
I would also be looking at neck issues. So a really good kinesiology massage around the neck can really help with sinuses, particularly around this sort of collarbone area. If you can sort of massage through here and through here, it will be, if you've got sinus
for those
issues,
listening, underneath the collarbone and on top of the collarbone.
If you do have sinus issues, then this will be a bruisey feeling, this will be congested, it will be painful, but if you can clear it, the stuck energy around the collarbone, it will certainly help your sinuses.
It's really common when we get people with sinus problems and we're doing this nice massage and all of a sudden they go, I can breathe.
Yeah, it can really unblock it.
A nice bit of homework for them.
Yeah.
So one of my favourite things, and it really helped me when I had sinusitis, is sinus rinses. And there's lots of ways to do this. And I actually have a little bit of science about this. So a lot of yogic traditions use what they call neti pots, which are basically, they look like little tiny teapots with very long spouts, which you kind of pour water up your nose and it comes down the other nostril. And these literally rinse out the nostrils. However, that's not effective enough for sinuses, because the science behind cleaning out sinuses is you need a lot of volume of water, and you also need quite a bit of pressure. So there is actually something which is called a sinus rinse, and I think it's made by Neil, Neil, and I recommend them to everyone. And you get them with little saline packets, which you put in with filtered warm water, and it's like a bottle. I think it's about 500 ml, it may not even be that much, it looks like a sports cap on the top, but it's not. It's actually kind of got a hole, and then there's a tube that goes into the bottle, and you literally put your nose, one side of your nostril, over the top, and you squeeze the bottle until it's half empty, and it literally that forces the water up all the way through the sinuses and then down the other side. It's actually ridiculously pleasant, particularly
I thought you were going to say painful.
No, it's like, oh yeah, there, that feels really good. And then when you've done half, you do the other side. So I recommend this to everyone who comes into my clinic with sinus issues. And the reason why this one is so successful is because it's the combination of pressure and volume that just cleans out the sinuses, and you can do that twice a day.
Really lovely.
Oh, it's amazing.
I would also, one of the things that I do in clinic is doing a lot of the face massage.
So sort of underneath the eyes and cheekbones.
Around, yep, underneath the eyes, around the nose, down through the cheeks, through the jaw, across the forehead. Really sort of work your thumbs through these different pressure points, or go and see a practitioner who's happy to do it for you. And it can give a lot of instant relief.
So the top tips mainly are: keep your dairy in check.
And your sugar.
Maybe work with a practitioner to look at your stomach, make sure you've got enough enzymes and acid, and try massaging basically the whole of your head and chest.
Yeah.
And the rinse.
Lovely. That was quick.
That was quick.
That's sinuses.
See you next time.
Bye.